Okay, so for this video, we're going to be going over how to add texture to your mugs with a couple different tools. So we're going to start with our blank white mug. This here is called a catalyst wedge. It usually comes with a wooden handle, but I've taken it off so that I can have max movement and flex with it without having to worry about a handle getting in the way. So this is some pitch black ink, as well as pinata brass that I'm mixing into it to give it some dimension. There it is, Pitch Black by Tim Holtz. So we're just going to take the catalyst wedge and mix it up, get it nice and saturated, and start applying it to the mug. Now you can see it's got a really interesting sort of texture to it. We're just going to keep playing into this technique here, and yeah, just move the ink around, see what kind of shapes you can make. I mean, look at that, that's pretty neat. If you did that with a blue, it would make a great wave design. So yeah, we're just kind of looking to make these a little bit more personalized versus in the last course where I just did straight single color and gradient colors. We're going to talk about sort of how to make it a little bit more your own now. So yeah, just keep scraping away at it, see what else we can do with it. Just getting the ink moving around, coating it. If you're finding that the ink starts getting too stringent, just add some more alcohol and you'll find it will mix up a lot nicer. You'll notice we're still moving in that sort of rotating technique to keep the ink from falling off the mug. So this will make the most of your inks. We're just going to keep going around and going around, creating some different sort of textures. And you could use anything to create these sort of textures. I mean, I've got a specialty tool because that's what I had with my acrylic work and I didn't mind using it, but if you just even used any sort of flat surface, you could use a piece of paper and it would absorb the ink, interestingly. You could use even a spatula. I've used a spatula before with great results because they have a lot more flex to be able to bend it around the mug as well and create more flowy sort of looks. And then adding the alcohol in between the layers allows things to kind of blend together a little more and look a little more organic. So you can see we've got some really neat textures and patterns going on here, even just from that couple minutes of work. There we go, so that's using the catalyst wedge. Lovely. Now we've got my favorite, Stream, Tim Holtz Stream. And we're just going to take that wedge again and we're just going to keep kind of moving it around, see how the colors can interact and create some depth in our mug. And remember, I mean, if you go overboard, which I'm pretty sure that I have at this point on this mug, there's just so much happening now. But you can always just add alcohol and start over again. You could even take a piece of paper towel and just completely wipe it clean and start all over again if you didn't like where it was going, which is similar to what I end up doing at the end of this mug. So we're just going to keep adding alcohol, rotating around. Lots of interesting shapes and textures coming through here. The beauty of abstract art is that it never needs to be perfect. We're not working towards a definitive shape or idea. We're just simply creating color and textures with no underlying meanings, no reasons, no Nothing more than just a simple, does it please my eye, then I like it. Just a little bit of cross hatching there. So that looks pretty neat then. It's definitely easy to go a little too busy on these types of styles, so the best way to tone it down is to add a little bit of alcohol and add some transparency in there. Here's my little clay tool that I used in the one of the first videos, and I'm just kind of creating some smaller textures, give it a little bit of detail. And then use the blow dryer to rapid dry it. Great, so we've got a pretty solid foundation here now. The harder you press using the wedge, the thicker the line is going to be. That's the beauty of these wedges, is they have that nice flat surface, but they also have the pointy tip on them, and you can create all sorts of different shapes. I don't usually like to go right up to the mouth, but there's something about these textured pieces, it just feels wrong not to. This mug has a very stormy feel to it, very dark. The beauty too about these high abstract sort of pieces is, I mean, people see all sorts of things in art, and I think it's wonderful that they can look at a piece, be able to use it, but also be able to relate to it in some way or another. A lot of people look at the mugs and they say, oh, I can see a landscape in there, or, you know, oh, I can see this and that, and it's great how it can speak to them. And there's nothing that speaks louder than these types of abstracts. At this point, you're probably listening and thinking it's just a bloody mug, but you know, some people take their morning coffee very seriously. Loving the gradients and the transitions here. You'll notice that in reality there's really not a lot of the lines from the wedge left over at the end here, but the beauty is it mixes the color together nicely, and you do still get those sort of underlying tones of it. So now here I take the paper towel, and I realize I've maybe overdone it a little bit. So we're just gonna see what happens here. We're just going to maybe add a little bit more texture into some of the darker areas. Very cool. I had a follower tell me on Instagram that the texture looks like fish scales, which is a pretty neat way to see it. Working like this is a lot of fun because it's so intuitive. You just get to play and try different things, different shapes, new materials, and just kind of see, you know, what works for you. So don't be afraid to pick up random things around your house and swoosh it around on your mug and see what comes of it, because, I mean, I did an experiment with the paper towel on a flat piece on Yupo, and I loved the texture of it, and I just had to try it on a mug. So give it a shot, you know. Try it on a piece of Yupo and see if you like what comes of it, and see if you can recreate it on a mug. You never know. It's important to experiment and bring your art to new and different levels. Very cool. There it is. So I think we're gonna call this one done. You can see the metallics are nice and subtle, but the texture is still vibrant and the colors are nicely meshed. Don't forget to carry forward whatever you've done onto the handle. It's really important to create that conclusive product. Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one.